What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
What's going on, Killer?
Hey, not much, player. Hey, man, we back for another week. Of course, I think we might be running off the coaching series, or we may have one more surprise person. But this week guest is special because I had to like fill out a lot of extra paperwork to get this man on here because I had to run it through HR to see if we could get somebody in his division to be on this podcast with. So I was like, I'm glad you approved of this, man. I'm grateful that you approved of this for us, because I think this will be big for us to share with another classic guy.
Man, the crazy thing is you're saying this and people are actually gonna believe you. That's the crazy thing about it.
Hey, y'all should believe every word of that. But hey, man, we got a special guest, and I think I hate to say underrated. I hate to say overlooked. I hate to use these type of words because they always sound bad when it comes to a person. But this coach we have coming on this week has a roster, like a legitimate roster, behind a lot of people that you guys may not know. He's very quiet behind the scenes, or he seems like that. Hopefully, we could get him out of that shell today. But if y'all don't know who we got coming on, he is a pro champion. He has won the No Gear Classic. I think that was 2 years ago maybe. But we have Melvin Moore coming to the stage. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on with you?
All right, pleasure to be here.
And like we said, Jamal, you just owe all the thanks to Jamal. Like he approved this for you to come on. But I'm gonna leave that lie alone. But can you introduce yourself? Can you give us a little bit more about yourself, a quick intro, or take your time with your intro? Let us know who you are, man.
Okay, Melvin Moore. I'm probably gonna throw out some random stuff just to give the full perspective of that's who I am, my demeanor, and I guess my mindset possibly. So Melvin Moore. I own a private training studio in Raleigh. I would say I've been into bodybuilding since 2010. That's when I was working at Pepsi, looking at Dexter Jackson on the magazine, Flex magazine, stuff like that. So you could say I read Arnold's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding around 2011. And I just began that bodybuilding journey, just recreation. Then around 2014, I'd say that's when I actually started knowing what I was doing. And I was kind of already living the lifestyle. People watching me, my journey. I was doing it if it fits your macros. I'm losing weight. I lost like 30 pounds. Had abs for the first time eating Pop-Tarts. Other people eating salad and they still fat. So they was like, how you do it? And long story short, people kept bugging me until they start offering me money to train them. Me being an introvert, I just point them in the right direction. Hey man, just go on my fitness pal. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to babysit you and all that. Start wanting some freedom because I realized it was a false sense of security with the jobs that I had. So jumped all in, quit my jobs in 2017. Started at commercial gyms, renting space, training people. Did my first show in 2018. A lot of my clients supported me and showed up at the shows. And then eventually, a lot of my clients started wanting to compete. And I would say just until last year, I just started having like outside people come in that I've coached. Before that, all of the people that I've coached so far, they've been just my gym pop clients. Even though I don't kind of like push that on them and like talk about it as much, but I'm basically, they're bodybuilders if you train it with me, one way or another. I'm sculpting your body. Also, I guess in the Army Reserves, I was a physical therapy assistant. And I was into bodybuilding and personal training before that. So for me, it was kind of like a scholarship. I was able to go in and learn the rehab. We learned the bones anatomy on a different level. So the whole time I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I can activate that muscle. So just like I train a lot of women and I'm real good with glutes and the ham gluteus and stuff like that because it's easy for me to pick apart why you can't activate your glutes. If you have, so a lot of people got bad knees because they got bad hips and all that interrupts the whole process of connecting with certain muscles. So I'm pretty good with little equipment activating any kind of muscle and stuff like that. So you could say training was my first love. Training is like my first specialty, which definitely helped me in bodybuilding. People watched my journey. Clients just kept progressing. Sooner or later, they said they want to do a show. Um, yeah, but other than that, just the full, as far as my perspective, I'm proud. Military, like I said, the Army Reserves, law enforcement, SWAT team. I've had like 22 different jobs until I found out what I believe to be my purpose, helping people. If people see me at shows, I'm quiet, stay to myself because that's the introvertedness. And I just didn't, I don't be thinking people know who I am until now. I guess I got my name on everything. So I guess I can't hide no more. So yeah, I'm not a small talker, but if somebody want to talk about competing, nutrition, business, personal development, I could talk about that all day. You want to talk about who won the Super Bowl last night? I can't do nothing for you. I don't care nothing about the weather. None of that small stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
That man say, if it ain't making him no money, he don't want
Right.
to talk about it.
Pretty
Like,
much.
hey, simple as that.
Yeah. I think that's a good enough briefing.
Nah, absolutely. So, I know you just said you got a private gym, Melvin. Do you just train females, or do you train male and females?
I train male and female, but typically 95% at least is female. Um, as far as my in person, most of my sessions, especially the prime time hours, are semi private training, and I keep that to women only. And
Okay.
then I train men typically one on one or online, well, as far as in person when I can, because I don't like to spread myself too thin. I've seen that a lot in gyms, um, so I don't want to have a whole bunch of women with glutes, and then I'm over here trying to spot a guy that's trying to bench heavy, and then I'm kind of leaving this person hanging when I have a typical group, a similar group with all the similar goals, and it's easy to manage and not spread myself too thin. So that's why it wasn't the plan, but that's how it turned out to be. So I end up mainly training women, but not because I don't train men. It's just usually the time and stuff like that.
All right, absolutely. What's one of the challenges you had when you first started out, whether that will be coaching or just open up your own gym?
Mm, challenges. God, I got a category or something to send me down the lane. Um, hmm.
Was you struggling to get clients in the door? Like when you got clients in the door, was it like, oh, you don't got enough equipment? Like just something.
I'm gonna say the first thing I'm thinking of is me being quiet and not wanting to talk to people. I
Okay.
had to be my own billboard first, so I had to walk it and talk it first. Um, I got real good at marketing. When it comes to marketing, and I guess why I have my name on everything is I'm very serious on branding, and also my goal with marketing is to answer a lot of people's questions before they even talk to me. So like if you watch my Instagram stories, a lot of people can get the vibe of my gym. They can get a vibe of the type of people that fit here. They can get a vibe of my demeanor. Um, they can see how I talk to people. And most importantly, you can see results. So if you at my gym on my team, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna watch a whole bunch of other people start after you and finish before you, as far as like getting the results and getting the goals. Um, so I take pride in letting that kind of do the talking for me, mainly because I don't want to do the talking anyway. But you know what I'm saying? I take pride in that, and kind of that presentation is real big. So I guess I had to figure out how to get that presentation and really live that presentation to kind of help with that problem.
All right, and I was about to ask. I guess my first question is, what's the biggest mental switch that you have to give someone who started with you for just weight loss, and then they say, "Hey, I want to bodybuild." What's the first like mental nugget, or what's the first thing you tell them when they say, "You know what, I think I want to compete"?
At that point, I feel like I turn into like a behavioral scientist almost, because for me, one of the reasons I love bodybuilding because the principles like can apply to any aspect of life. So I literally start picking them apart. And let's say if it's an in-person client, more than likely I've already kind of get a head start of it. But once you tell me you want to bodybuild, I want to know why. So I'm gonna just say why. Um, what's your goal? Is this just a bucket list? Just like I've heard y'all say, do you want to compete or do you want to be competitive? If you get last place, how you gonna feel? Do you have any disorders with eating? Like, are you running from something? Are you trying to channel bad energy? And after that show is over, what's gonna happen to that energy? All of that stuff. Like, let's say even when I'm coaching clients now, about 6 weeks out, and there I see like they may be at a weight that they can actually realistically hold on to. I'm like, what weight you want to stay at after the show? Cause I done seen a whole lot of people get toe up and mentally messed up, body dysmorphia after a show. Cause I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, unless you trying to do what you're doing right now after that show, it ain't realistic. So let's go ahead and kind of set some goals for after the show. But I guess you can say it's definitely I tap into that mental. Um, it's funny watching people's reactions. I usually actually tell people all of the bad things I can think about with competing, like the perception of yourself. Most people, especially I got a lot of women, most people have never stood on stage half naked and then somebody tell you that your head too big for your body. I say that to be funny, but that's real. Like that's what happened. Like with the first time I stepped on stage, I found out that I had long forearms, and I'm like, all my life I was fine, and then I thought I had decent arms. Now I've stepped next to somebody else that has arms. Now I realize my arms are smaller. Now I got something wrong with my forearms. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it took a minute to process that. So I mentioned everything I could think of bad about competing, and then let's say when they listen to the bad, I tell them why I compete, how I treat it. It's like one of the greatest personal development journeys and stuff like that. And regardless of what happens on stage, like I'm still that person. I'm still um, the person I want to be, and all this other positive stuff. After they hear all that negative stuff and they still want to compete, then I'm like, all right, okay, I got something to work with. Let's do it. But if somebody just want to come in and I'm going to Jamaica, so I might as well do a show before. I'm gonna get real negative and see where your head is, and you know what I'm saying? Because once I figure out what motivates you, the drivers and stuff like that, then I realize I can pull those strings to kind of get you where you need to be.
Where are you from, Melvin?
Really, originally from Portsmouth, Virginia, Pistol
Okay.
City. I moved to Raleigh in 2017.
Okay. Um, so we had talked about it a little bit earlier, man. What people don't know, you have a roster. Whether you broadcast it or not, you have a roster. So let's just talk about your roster, man. You have a team. How did that come about, man?
Um, Mainly just for my gym, and I'm gonna say the culture and the family that was built here, and I call it positive peer pressure. Sometimes it's kind of like I've had just like I was talking to a client today. She's been with me since 2020. She when she got here, all she saw was me competing. 2 years
Mm-hmm.
later, that's when other people start competing, and they went from the first year one person, second year three people, and now I've had up to like 20 at a time,
Right.
and it's kind of like she's progressed, but it's kind of like maybe I should have progressed a little more. Maybe it's time for me to turn it up. You know what I'm saying? What am I doing in a positive way? So I'm gonna say it's been real organic. I can think about right now 3 people that I have maybe online just planning to compete right now. Everybody else has just been straight in house. So definitely all organic, really.
That's dope. Yeah. I met one of your clients last year. Whitney.
Hmm.
Yeah, Whitney is a go getter, man. I
For
can
sure.
tell, like she loves the sport or
Hmm.
whatnot. So that's awesome, man. How do you keep the morale high around there, man, with all them women?
For one, just telling like it is. Um, it's kind of like I purposely say stuff to like kind of can't think of the word, but like make it hurt sometimes if necessary to kind of bring people back to reality. Whether it's the, if they could be on either end. So, for, like for one, my client Whitney, she's the one I have to get her to, like, she's on punishment right now. Like, she's
Damn,
done
wait,
like
hey.
3 shows. She's ready to do another one. She now a model ambassador for Angel Bikinis and all this other stuff. And I've had to pull her calories so low. I'm like, this is unhealthy. And like, if you get to the point where your hair falling out, your thyroid messed up, all this other stuff, I don't want it on my name. You know, that's like whether bodybuilder or not, you can kill yourself, but just not on my watch. You can do whatever you want to, but you know what I'm saying? Certain stuff, I don't want my name on it. So she's listening right now. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely always want to take the healthy route too. Because I feel like that's also one of the negative things. People see people on stage and like to a certain level of leanness or when those calories get so low, that's not healthy. And then doing it for an
Absolutely.
extended period of time or I gain weight. So let me jump back into a show. That just makes it even worse. And I feel like a lot of my coaching stems from my mistakes. So I'm quick to tell all of my flaws. Still to this day, I've never stuck to um, like an after show, like reverse plan 100%. Or I do it for the first two months, and then 2 3 weeks happen, whole bunch of cookouts or something like that. Next thing I know, I'm up 30 pounds. So like I tell people, and I'm literally they can see me in person. I show them like, hey, I had to switch to the extra large shirts because them larges, my stomach sticking out. You don't want that to happen to you. So I'm real upfront with that. And they've seen the process, so they have no choice but to respect it. So
All right, we'll move into our first segment. We got the first call out coming up. So I got a quick question. What is the connection, or how did you and the biggest connect, Big Coco? How did y'all connect, and how did you end up helping her? I don't know. Did you help her going into her first Jordan, or like what is like y'all client athlete relationship
Dynamic.
dynamic? Yeah,
I
I don't want
started
that
her.
R word. Dynamic.
Yeah, I started helping her getting ready for the second Jordan.
Okay.
Her sister was coaching her for the first show. Yeah, so I had nothing to do with that. Um, I had 2 athletes in her first show, Jack King,
Yep.
and then I would say it's basically good energy. One thing that I appreciate about my team the most, like regardless of who won, didn't won, I feel like people are just attracted to my team because it's just good people. It's like when we're backstage, it's kind of like people are like, I actually could hang with them. And I feel like it's just a vibe, and they see how much I care as a coach. But back to the question, um, she vibed with 2 of my athletes. They had, you know what I'm saying, they cheering each other on at the show. One of them was in wellness, but it was just good vibes, good energy there. After the show in the parking lot, one of my other clients, I guess, gave her some compliments and just kind of showed love. They end up talking in the parking lot for an hour, and that created a connection. And then I meet with my athletes on Sundays when I can for posing and stuff like that. And then she end up coming for posing and stuff like that. And then it was just a vibe because it's pretty much a family already. From all my in-house people, she fit right in. Um, and I think a lot of people would prefer like that in-person feel. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of coaches online that they're the gurus, if you want to call it that, and they know what they're doing. But sometimes you need that personal touch, that personal feel. I feel like it's nothing like, well, let's just say my coach was there my first show, but even at my first show, I used to watch people backstage, and I just would sit there and watch all the people. I like people watch anyway, but I'm watching people come in. They have no idea where to go. They have no idea where to sit. Um, Coach might have came in 20 minutes before stage time. He ain't got nothing but his keys in his pocket. That's it. And it's kind of like they don't know where to tan, all that other stuff. And I guess she also saw how well I took care of my clients. I have jewelry. Uh, I've done all the tanning so far. I have lights. I have fans. Anything you can think of, because I want to make the process as stress as less stressful as possible. So from the energy, of my clients, my team, and seeing how I took get care of the rest of my athletes. I think that's what kind of initiated that. But you can say when I started helping her coach was the beginning of January before the last Jordan.
Okay, so that takes me into my next question because you just said like you got all these things and you pretty much want to minimize the stress of your athletes, right?
Mhm.
So, what do you think separates a great coach from an average coach?
Um, I feel like it's a mixture of being knowledgeable. So I guess maybe it's three things: being knowledgeable, then actually having the wisdom, which only can come with time and experience, and then actually caring about the athlete. And then I just throw this in. I appreciate y'all show because when I really first got started, I feel like I was kind of unsure of myself. I had years and years of knowledge, but until you actually try that on somebody, until you actually backstage somebody looking flat and you tell them to drink some salt, drink some water, and it's too much, and it's like, oh, man, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? You just throwing up a prayer. So listening to y'all show, I was able to kind of hear stuff and kind of like, oh, okay, I do know what I'm talking about. So I definitely appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Got off on a tangent. What was the question?
Nah, that was it. I think you answered her there,
Gotcha. Okay.
man.
Yeah, you was like you say the three things is knowledge, wisdom, and caring for the athletes. I think those are all
Hmm.
Yeah.
important, right? I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of people who care for their athletes, but
Hmm.
maybe lack the knowledge. There's a lot of people who have the knowledge but don't have the wisdom because they haven't applied it, like you said.
Hmm.
And they care. And then I think even at the opposite end of the spectrum, we've seen people who do it for the
Hmm.
dollar. So the last portion, they don't care about
Right.
the athlete, but they have the knowledge somewhat,
Hmm.
or they have the wisdom. So I think all three of those things, if you put those three together, like I think that's what really excels a great coach. If you see that backstage or see someone with those three
Yeah.
characters.
And it depends
Um,
on where you are in your journey as well. I tell that's why I'm the person that'll probably never answer your question direct because it's always it depends, and I need to actually listen to you, get more information to give you a better answer. So somebody who's a little bit more experienced, they don't need all that fluff stuff. They may need just tell me what to do. As long as it makes sense, I'm just gonna do it. If I don't understand, I'm gonna ask questions and I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? Just let me throw my headphones on backstage and we good to go. But somebody else, they might need to hold on hands. So like I challenge people to like ask me questions to help them understand. Because if they understand why I did what the guidance that I gave them, typically they'll buy into it and it's a little bit easier to do. And I should say, if I tell somebody what to do, I should be able to explain it. Even if I don't know if it's gonna work, I should be able to say, "Hey, this is our first show. I don't know if this is gonna work, but this is why I had this, and you know what I'm saying this is why it makes sense. In worst case scenario, if it don't work, I know what to do the next time."
Gotcha. All right, now we're gonna move into the last call out. These are the quick hitters of the show. I really just have one because I love to hear the perspective of I call them coach athletes or athlete coaches. Let's put it athlete coaches. That's a better sound because some people prefer to have a coach that never competes and never or is done, retired or taking a hiatus. Some people like to see their coaches in the process because it's motivation. So, have you ran into an obstacle of coaching and competing, or better question is, what would be the biggest challenge since you are a top athlete and since you are a top coach? What is a challenge that you have trying to balance the two of them?
I'm gonna say I've only really had one issue with that, and that was because it was a person that was on fully online, um, and it was just a lack of communication. Let's just say me being a newer coach, there was some things I would kind of ask certain the typical protocol type questions, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then let's just say 3 months down the line, it was a whole bunch of issues, but I didn't know how to answer those questions. So I kind of appreciate it now because now I kind of I over communicate. I check all the boxes. I say if you send me a check in and I say you good, but you don't know why you good, I need you to tell me you don't understand why, and then I can say, oh, okay, I thought you already knew that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So I can rant all day about that, but I would say communication. And I'm gonna say now I've kind of created systems and I guess a thought process, kind of like a flow chart to go over, um, and kind of also let the person know up front instead of kind of figuring out as we go. So I figured, let's say, since I'm gonna say I've stepped my communication up to kind of, I guess, have preventative measures, I haven't had that problem. So,
All right, I got two questions for you, two little quick questions. The first one is, who is somebody you would love to train in the bodybuilding world? It could be past, present, or future person.
as in anybody,
Anybody, like you got the, thinking of classic people, you assume people be like, oh, C Bum, I love to train with C Bum, but it don't have to be him, but yeah, just anybody.
um, man, I'm a, I'm not even thinking of an athlete with that. I'm thinking of a coach,
Okay.
and that would be Psycho Chris. Um, y'all familiar with the name?
Yeah.
Psycho Chris, he trained Flex Roden,
Mm-hmm.
all those guys. So I would say he's had a lot of influence. I could say me, I'm a nerd and like I've always wanted to be Mr. Miyagi instead of Danielson. So I'm always, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of athletes that they just pick up a weight and they start growing. You start talking to them, I don't know what he doing. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been fascinated by the person that can get a person to do something or can teach them how to do something. I'm fascinated with the person that really knows the why. So no matter what athlete, whether it's natural, untested, whatever, who's their coach? You know what I'm saying? And I want to know their philosophy. So I went from the study from the Charles Glasses and people like that. Then I figured that Psycho Chris study under him and all this other stuff. So I've kind of, you can say my philosophy comes from a mixture of Hani Rambod to the Psycho Chris's to the Chris Acetos. I see a good athlete and then I go straight to the coaches. So I guess I don't even really think about athletes as much. Of course, I respect it. I like them. I'm gonna watch the videos for motivation. But after that, where's Mr. Miyagi at? I wanna know what he know.
Absolutely. So you're a coach now with some years under your belt. What would you tell your younger self, your first year self, that's stepping on stage for the very first time? What would be some advice you would tell yourself?
Um, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. I won my first show, and then when I left that show, when I stepped in the food line or whatever grocery store I was at, ain't nobody knew who the hell I was.
When
Like,
Oh
you got your
man.
pro card and nobody knew who you was after you
yeah.
became a professional.
So I guess I don't know. I guess I focus on the personal development side so much now.
Yeah.
Um, that's the stuff that really means something. Like if bodybuilding went away, like I'm still him. You know what I'm saying? In my own way and my own perception. Um,
Right.
so like when I hear the yeah, I want to get my pro card and it's that first show, I'm just like, and especially when like you in a hurry to be at the bottom of the next level most of the
That
time.
instant success. Yeah,
You
people
know,
want that instant success, not
yeah.
knowing once you get your pro card, dude, you're
Mm-hmm.
about to be in the back of a long ass line.
Mm-hmm. So that's definitely when people say that about the pro card stuff. I ask why. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna say it's not that serious. Also, I think with the experience, like balancing the hype, I feel like we use different things to motivate us. Like me, I've always used the underdog mindset as a motivator. But then after I've won a couple shows, and now let's say I'll even use myself as far as like the no gear. There was like a lot of pressure with me coming back, and then people telling me that I already won. But now that let's say I had won, I ain't had nobody to chase, and then I'm already comfortable with who I am in my regular life. So it's kind of like I was struggling to find motivation, but I'm still like kind of unnecessarily stressing myself out and killing myself on a certain level. Um, but I feel like that can hinder your physique as well. So I feel like if I really didn't care and I put things in a better perspective of what I was doing, Because I joke and tell people like bodybuilding is an expensive hobby for most people. So I feel like let's say with no gear, I was like 15% better 2 days before. Now, whether I was the one, still not, I ain't even gonna say that because them guys was on point. So I ain't even going there. But I still like, let's say when you get on stage, you want to know that you did everything that you could in the best way, and just whatever happens. So I feel like the stress that I put on myself, and then listen to other people hyping me up, and saying you're gonna come on champ, come on back, get the title, and I listen to all that stuff. I feel like I got in my head. Got backstage, couldn't get a pump. I'm pretty sure my cortisol was through the roof. And then I lost, and then it was like nobody cared because I'm thinking like, you know what I'm saying? All these people done hype me up, then I lose, they gonna be looking at me funny. Nah, ain't nobody care. It was just a regular day. You know, just life went on. Like, and I'm like, why was I stressing myself out about this? I could have been somewhere making some money or something like that. I'm here thinking about what if I lose at the No Gear Classic that I'm paying to possibly get my money back. Like, I don't know. So
I think you just said something. I've been using the word profound lately. I don't know why, but you just said something profound, man. Like I think that's the misconception about this sport. A lot of people like, I got all this pressure on me. Like all these people are telling me this, and I'm gonna let people down. I'm like, how are you letting people down that's in the crowd? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're your supporters regardless. Like most people are going to support you win, lose, or draw. They were supporting you before you even started this journey, most likely if they're there at the show. So a lot of people are like, I let people down. Like, no, you didn't. Like, did those same people still take pictures with you after the show? Like, did anybody really tell you that you disappointed me? No, because you're doing something that most of them never going to do. So when they say, "Oh, you let me down," or "I let my people down," I was just like, "Who did you really let down, or did you let your ego down?" Just a little bit.
for sure.
So that's my nugget on that because I don't like seeing when people be like, "I let all my supporters down." I'm like, no, you didn't, because if you put them in them same shoes, would they have done better?
Truth be told, they only supporting you because you winning anyway. If you do got supporters, truth be told, so so either you got supporters or you got friends. Your friends gonna stick beside you no matter what.
For
Once
sure.
you fucking take that dip, that's when your supporters gonna go find somebody else to support that's winning.
Right. For sure. And that's why also I'm not, but all my last shows is kind of like pick a date, I got to make it and figure it out. So this route, I'm kind of telling my team and stuff too, like I'm taking a year off of foreign because I've never done a full off season to really kind of get healthier, let my hormones reset and all that other stuff. But I want to experience a prep where my body says when I should compete, when I built my calories up to a good starting point, when I kind of have a full pre-prep phase, and then I'm losing 10, 15 pounds for prep, not 40 pounds. So just like I said, most of my coaching comes from my mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So now I guess I've seen guys who like backstage, they didn't really care. They might have already knew they weren't gonna win, but like I'm just kind of like looking at them like they look like they're having a good time back here. I'm back here stressed the hell out for no reason. It's kind of like going to the beach and you see the fat guy with his shirt off, and he don't have no cares in the world. You in shape, but you scared to take your shirt off. Like, I want that experience backstage in my next show. So I'm taking this full year off and kind of do it right, do it a healthy way. I'm hoping that I can hoping that spills over into my team. Because one thing also is everybody on my team has at least wanted to do another show. And I take pride in that because I've seen a lot of people, they're like, oh, hell no, I ain't doing this. You know what I'm saying? So I want to kind of put myself in that too, because I've done it for different reasons, and I'm kind of extreme person too. I just like extreme stuff, but I want to have a more better present experience the next time, and I want that for other people too.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna say one last thing, and then we'll close it out. I think what you just said, a lot of athletes, and I think it's the ones who's super competitive or the ones who have reached some success in the sport, they all say the same thing. Like I think we had Callie say that, we had Jillian say that, we had a lot of people who said you know what, like being stressed out backstage is overrated. Like we should be having fun because it's not like we don't know what we're doing. It's not like we haven't reached the pinnacle or we haven't done this before. Usually the most nervous person should be the newest person, but if they got proper coaching, usually they're the calmest. So I think you said something, especially with, hey, like just have fun with it. That should be the thing. Like I think that's all at the wave we're at. Like I think we know it's a competition and we did everything we can up into the show. So having fun with it at the show, that's just the last part of it. Like, so I think that should be what everyone should be saying. Like, hey, this sport can be fun, but you have to wait for that, you know, that moment. Right. So
Sure.
but yeah, man, hey, once again, we appreciate you for coming up here. Since you've been here since 2017, we're gonna represent you from the North Carolina crew. You could get rid of Virginia because you're part of the NC crew for now. I might have to run that through the ambassador of, you know, Carolina Muscle. You know, he branded the whole thing. But hey, man, we appreciate you for coming on, sharing some insight. You know, like we said, we always try to use this platform to promote the people behind the brands, not necessarily just the brands. And I think you did a good job of letting people know who you are today. You got any closing remarks, and where can people find you at?
That's about it. We got a posing clinic this weekend here at my studio with Tina Johnson. You got to go to her website to sign up if you're interested. Other than that, Melvin Moore Fitness on anything, YouTube, Instagram. Instagram was where I mainly at. Website, melvinmorefitness.com. Put Melvin Moore Fitness in Google. A whole bunch of stuff gonna come up. So,
All right. And just like that, y'all, we are out. Peace.
Peace.
appreciate it.